Do you think he that B took him out, or do you think he did it to himself? What is your suspicion? And is Honor and Alba involved?
What counts as doing it to yourself? Hey, everyone. I'm Becca, he's Matt, and this is Book Love Podcast. And welcome back to our buddy read of The Nightingale Mysteries by Katharine Schellman.
Today, we are diving into part 2 of book 2, The Last Drop of Hemlock. And if I'm not mistaken, we read chapters 20 to
30.
The end. We finished it. Yeah, 30. There was 30 chapters. There you go. It went real quick. The end went fast. The first half didn't go so fast.
Yeah, but the end was fast.
The end was awesome. I thought it was great. Man, before we dive into this book, it is the end of March as we're recording this. I don't know when these episodes are going to come out, but like, dude, your life is ramping the F up. Like, how are you feeling about derby? You're doing roller derby, and it's going to get competitive.
Yeah, we had our first bout this weekend, but I didn't get to go because I was hosting a gala.
Of course.
Small things. And
as
then,
one does.
2 weeks will be the first game that I get to go actually play it.
Mm-hmm. That's the weekend of the 25th?
That's the first local one.
Oh, okay.
We have one on the 11th. We'll be in near Wheeling, West Virginia.
I guess that's not too far from where you are, but okay. Yeah. Are you nervous? But like good nervous, bad nervous?
Yeah, it's going to be fine. It'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually not as nervous as I thought I would be.
I was telling your sister, I can't imagine Becca just like bowling down a court, just plowing through people and taking them out. But I'm kind of interested to watch it.
So on Thursday, we were practicing drills, and one of the drills was a panty pass. So the jammer can take the panty off their helmet and pass it to another player to become the jammer. The other player, it's only one player they can pass it to. That title is called the pivot. So we were practicing this drill, and I was the pivot. So the jammer handed me the jammer panty, and I put it on. And just much like you said, I got up to speed, got around the court, and I just went full force into my friends and caused mass amounts of chaos as a jammer. It was so much fun.
Here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have to find a PDF online so I can read about this and understand what the heck I'm going to be watching. Because 100% I'm going.
I'm looking forward to it.
And on top of that, you're still doing D&D?
Yeah. We just leveled up. We're officially level 2 now.
What does that mean?
Our characters have more health points, finally.
Oh, okay.
A video game when you
not
get enough
dying
experience.
As much then? You were telling me, like, so what is your character?
Her name is Lyra, and she's like I forget the word for it, but she's like an underworld being.
Okay, so sort of like a demon.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. I don't want to say that tracks, but it kind of a little bit tracks. It just
Persephone vibes, you know?
Yeah.
Goddess of the underworld as well as spring.
Your life is so interesting. I don't have anything to talk about, you know? I mean, I could, but nobody wants to hear about it. Like,
you were playing music and you're helping your friend get baptized this weekend.
I'm not helping. I'm just watching and supporting. Let's be clear about that. There's no helping. Yes, my best friend of, I suppose, we're going on 20 years now, is getting baptized on Easter. He was baptized as a kid, but I think he was kind of a part of a little bit of like a religious cult as a kid, like that type of church. And he wants to do it again of his own like volition and decision and everything. So we're going to go support him in that. Not exactly sure what to expect. And that's kind of weird because we went to the same church growing up and I should know what to expect, but I don't know what to expect anymore. Um, but yeah, we started playing music again on Sunday evenings together, and that's been a wild ride. It's actually sort of been like riding a bicycle. Just pick that stuff back up. It's interesting. Um,
Nice.
kind of feel bad for his kids because he's got how old are his kids? Goodness, 8 and 4,
Wise.
and they go to bed. And then we keep playing music in his basement with our amps at like full volume and for another few hours. It doesn't seem to bother anybody. So, um,
It's important to be able to sleep through sound sometimes.
and oh, I suppose I can say that I don't know if I told you, I got people from all across the globe onto a podcast episode the other day, um, for the Blade of Shadows, that fandom,
Yeah.
and yeah, somebody in Australia, London, Denmark, North Carolina, and Virginia,
Wow.
and me, and we had such a good time meeting one another that they've all decided that we are going to do a series reread together. So I don't know if that's going to live here or if I have to spin something else up, another podcast platform. But apparently, I guess we're going to do that. Um,
That's awesome.
so I don't know when this is coming out, but maybe the first episode of that thing has already. I don't whatever it
We'll find
kind of
out.
kind of fun, kind of cool. Like, but that's life. um, but back to Katharine Schellman. We finished another book. Yay!
Mhm.
I mean, what'd you think overall?
I had a really good time reading the book, and I'm looking forward to the third book.
A- Any particular reasons why you're looking forward to the third book? Just wanting to stay on the train, or
A little bit on the train, but also just the way she weaves in, like, oh, it's this. Oh, no, it's that. Oh, it's that. Like, it just feels so authentic and easy to take that train ride that you're like, oh, she told us. Oh, she didn't tell us. Oh. So I kind of have no idea where we're going with the last note of warning, but then also at the same time, you're like, ooh, are we going to learn more about this long lost mom character? Are we going to maybe develop some of these relationships a little bit more,
fingers crossed.
right? Danny and
Yeah,
Flo, real cute.
a little bit. Yeah, real cute. Um, yeah, I really like how Katharine Schellman. Uh, she seems to be very hyper aware of her like red herrings,
Hmm.
and she makes them like guilty by association almost every single one of them. So then you're not actually sure if it's going to be a red herring or not until yeah, like so I appreciate that kind of writing. Good for her. It's fun. Um so I know when we finished the first 19 chapters, you were a little like, "Ooh, this is not cozy. This is tense." Did you stay in that pocket or did it get better?
No, it's went right back to cozy after two
Okay.
moments of
I
anxiety.
I thought so, but I thought I would double check. I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about at a high level. Maybe we should just go through what happened in the last 100-ish pages.
100%.
Cool, cool, cool. Start us off, sister.
Our story resumes the morning after Vivian leaves Honor's apartment as Vivian bumps into her neighbor Will while sneaking back into her apartment to get ready for work.
Surprise, surprise. B is there, and she's wearing a new necklace that Abraham gave her. It's a gold locket that looks a lot like the one that a letter demanded from Mr. Guzman's neighbor.
When Vivian voices her suspicions, essentially calling Abraham a thief, B is pissed. Vowing that she'll ask Abraham to prove Vivian wrong, she slams the door on her way out.
Vivian wants nothing more than to just like go back to sleep, but Miss Ethel's awaits, so she hops in a cab and then zigzags her way to the Chin's restaurant in order to collect Florence.
Timing of life is absolutely perfect. Our lawn people are here to mow the lawn, so hopefully you can hear me over them.
Definitely, you're good.
Flo is upstairs with Danny, and Vivian has the perfect timing to interrupt an up close and personal self defense lesson. Vivian chooses to wait downstairs instead.
I thought the self-defense lesson was super adorable because it's not like steamy, but it gives you the vibes of like a man teaching a girl how to play like billiards, like lean over behind and I'll put my arms around you so you can do the cute. Like it was very cutesy.
Yes.
Uh, anyway, so yeah, she waits downstairs, and that's where Vivian sees the man from book one who mistook her for her mother, but he leaves too quickly for Vivian to catch.
Miss Ethel's isn't as bad as the Kelly sisters had imagined. I mean, more stuff was stolen after Vivian and Honor got away, but Miss Ethel doesn't suspect any of the girls. She does require everyone to work overtime to help recoup the losses, though, and Vivian is to make house calls instead of deliveries for now. And one of the first ones is Hattie Wilson.
While getting her measurements taken, Hattie tells Vivian some information she's unearthed. It seems that there is a new operation in town, and it's bad for business. The operation sends letters demanding payment, and their calling card is a hand drawn picture of a hemlock leaf.
Miss Wilson is interested in striking up a tenuous alliance with Vivian to share information in order to deal with this letter initiative, and Vivian cautiously accepts.
That evening at the Nightingale, Bee tells Vivian that she spoke with Abraham, and guess what? He bought the necklace at a pawn shop. So Vivian decides she's going to make a visit to the pawn shop.
Another coworker, Ellie, overhears them and mentions that her neighbor got a letter, and Vivian wants to ask the neighbor some questions, and Ellie agrees.
And can we just put out there seem to have been a lot of letters. This person was busy with letter writing. There's a lot of
Feeling
letters.
a lot from the neighbors.
Anyways, we're still at the Nightingale. Vivian also thinks she sees Bruiser George at the club, but then never catches sight of him again. And Leo arrives, and the two of them catch up on events about after his very heroic arrest. Leo agrees to go to the pawn shop with her.
The next day, deliveries for Miss Ethel go very quickly, allowing Vivian to meet with Ellie and her neighbor who received the letter. With Beryl, sorry.
The first and only thing they do is compare the letters. Vivian's is handwritten with poorly formed block letters, no signature, whereas Beryl's is neatly typed and signed with a drawing of a hemlock leaf. And Vivian swears she's seen drawings like that before.
Vivian leaves Beryl's apartment to meet Leo at the pawn shop. After waiting for a cop with a gambling addiction to leave, they're finally able to speak to the pawn shop owner. But then Bruiser George bursts in and begins violently interfering.
Dude, what a jerk. Like, that was just, come on, bro.
He's the worst.
Anyways, he's apparently been following Vivian on Hattie Wilson's orders. So much for an alliance, right? And after a bit of a scuffle, Vivian is able to find out two things. One, Abraham definitely did not buy the gold locket necklace from the pawn shop. And two, the candlesticks for sale over yonder were pawned by an old lady with the name of Kaminsky.
Hours later, Vivian finishes washing dishes at the Chin's restaurant to go to work, but Miss Chin intercedes her and gives her the name and address of the elderly Chinese man who mistook Vivian for her mother. He is a Mr. Sun.
Later at the Nightingale, Vivian has so much to tell Bee, but first she confronts Alba about Alba's sketchbook. B walks in and demands to know what's going on. And then Alba just bursts out that Pearly, Uncle freaking Pearly, was the one sending letters and robbing everyone. Blindsided, did not see that coming.
Alba, apparently, was just along for the ride and providing the drawings. Pearlie just wanted to make money to take care of her and the baby.
And Abraham was the getaway driver who accepted that necklace as payment for a job once when Uncle Pearlie didn't have money. When Abraham finally understood the nature of what was happening, he got out.
But then someone unalived Uncle Pearlie, and maybe that same someone took up Pearlie's con.
Tensions are extremely high in the dressing room, and Vivian and Bee are both stunned. But all three ladies need to get back to work.
After last call, Abraham shows up to drive them home. While Bee sings her final song, Vivian confronts Abraham, who doesn't deny anything, but maintains he didn't know details. He just wanted to make some extra money so he could ask Bee to marry him. And even that wasn't enough since he got out of the game.
Bee is very upset, but not upset enough to end things with Abraham. So, in the end, Abraham drives Bee and Alba home while Vivian stays at the Nightingale and helps Danny clean up.
On their way to work the next morning, the Kelly sisters take a package to the post office for Miss Chin. And the post office is next door to Mr. Sun's home. And wouldn't you know it, they run into him and his granddaughter and schedule a time to meet the next day.
But that good feeling is short-lived, because as they get closer to Miss Ethel's shop, they see cop cars everywhere. And Leo is there trying to talk them out of going into work. But obviously, it would be more suspicious if they didn't go to work, so they go.
The cops are doing a full investigation of the break-in and robbery, and they force Miss Ethel to send her seamstress home for the week.
Florence heads back to the Chin's restaurant alone, while Leo accompanies Vivian as she makes Miss Ethel's final deliveries for the week.
After the uneventful deliveries, Leo takes Vivian to lunch where they discover a newspaper containing an article about an unalived police officer, his brother, and his gambling-addicted father. And it's the final piece of the puzzle.
Leo pays for lunch, and Vivian hastens to collect Bee so they can go see Dr. Harris, where Vivian immediately pulls a gun and demands that Dr. Harris give her the dress back.
Vivian demands answers, and answers she gets. Dr. Harris's brother got in with the mob to pay off their father's gambling debts, but he got unalived for his trouble. So Dr. Harris took over Pearlie's operation to continue the payments.
Vivian ends up pushing one too many buttons with her questions and accusations, and Dr. Harris grabs Bee and a syringe. When tensions escalate, and just as Vivian decides to lower her gun, Leo bursts through the door and tackles the doctor.
But not before the syringe pierces Bee's neck. Thankfully, it's only a sedative.
I was actually a little worried there for a hot second when I read that part. As Vivian, Leo, and Bee debate what to do with the now incapacitated Dr. Harris's father shows up. He is, in fact, that same police officer from the pawn shop. And he apparently has called some of his buddies from the precinct.
Vivian's not a killer. She decides to lower the gun, and the trio retreat from Dr. Harris's apartment. On her way out, Vivian tells him to never, ever so much as look at Florence ever again.
I liked that protective thing. That was cute. Later that evening at the Nightingale, Hattie Wilson is in Honor's office demanding an explanation from Vivian. But Vivian is all like, talk to the hand. Because so much for alliances, right? And Honor backs her up, by the way. That was key.
At the Chins the next day, Vivian receives a letter, but it's only from Mr. Sun's granddaughter. He went to sleep and never woke up. And she wanted to let them know. Included in the letter is a photograph of their mother with Flo as a child and Vivian as a baby.
And with that as an impetus, the sisters set out to finally locate their mother's remains. The only place they know where to go, though, is not where those remains are. Hart Island is where the unclaimed persons are buried, and their mother is not there.
Vivian invites Leo to the Nightingale that night and asks him for another favor with the coroner's office so that she can ask about her mother. And then she asks him for a date, and Leo says yes to both.
So sweet. The club, Vivian hears two ladies gossiping. It seems that a very wonderful doctor who had set up his practice in a poor neighborhood has been found unalive. Death by despair, suicide by arsenic.
Vivian bursts into B's dressing room, exclaiming about Dr. Harris's news, only to find B, Alba, and Honor looking guilty and conspiratorial. Vivian is immediately suspicious.
Our story comes to a close with B telling Vivian not to ask any questions she doesn't absolutely want to know the answers to.
Hey, everyone. We need to take a moment to thank today's sponsor.
Y'all, in these stressful times, it's more important than ever to prioritize your mental health, protect your inner peace, and set healthy boundaries.
That's why today's episode is brought to you by ZenPoison, the wellness product designed for people who need inner peace.
Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you tired of doom scrolling? Exhausted by the news, the group chats, that one coworker who keeps saying, let's circle back, or even the manager who's obsessed with those non-essential, essential metrics?
Instead of bottling up your frustrations, try bottling something else. Our carefully curated line of artisanal toxins to help you reclaim your calm, one discreet drop at a time.
Each blend is handcrafted using only the finest, ethically sourced organic ingredients. And they're infused with calming aromatherapy notes like lavender or chamomile.
Choose from relaxing varieties such as boundary setting belladonna, digital detox hemlock, people pleaser arsenic, and our limited editional seasonal favorite, burnout berry cyanide.
Just add a single drop to tea, wine, or sparkling water and enjoy the soothing sensation of finally having control over your environment.
Side effects may include a profound sense of closure, dramatically reduced small talk, and a sudden disappearance of recurring problems.
Because sometimes meditation isn't enough, and journaling has limits, but ZenPoison is strong enough for revenge and gentle enough for mindfulness.
ZenPoison, because sometimes mental health needs to be a permanent.
Disclaimer: nobody on this podcast is suicidal. That was all satirical.
Nor do we recommend the consumption of any of those products.
Yes.
And back to the show.
Dr. Harris did it. I think we called that.
We did.
Did you find that to be too obvious? What did you think of that?
No. Well, because when we immediately started back, it was like, oh, it was Abraham. Okay, now we're going to unfold. This relationship's going to fall apart. And then it was saved there like 50 pages later. And I was like, okay, this makes me feel better.
I don't know. I'm not happy that it was Dr. Harris, but I feel like the backstory of why he did it and his connections to the other two, his dad and his brother, especially because I think Hattie Wilson actually told Vivian essentially about her Dr. Harris's brother. I thought that was very nicely orchestrated. And I feel like that made it feel better to me.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a really nice play on the concept of good people do bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not black and white.
Yes. Do you think he's a good person or a bad person? If you had to pick one, obviously.
I think he's a good person who took a bad turn to try and solve some problems, but they didn't work out well.
I think I agree with you on that one. His daddy got in deep.
Hmm.
and family is everything to some people, you know? Um, I think my favorite part of the Dr. Harris thing is, throughout the novel, right, he kept asking about Florence,
Hmm.
and then Florence gets that letter, and so you're kind of almost led to believe that he was asking about Florence, like, threateningly, but really he was just sweet on her. He thought
Hmm.
she's pretty.
Hmm.
Um, so I liked that little twist. I thought that was cute.
Well, and the admission from him that he said that was the intent to get to Vivian because he knew
Mhm.
that Vivian would do the job, not Flo.
Which is just crazy, right? But Dr. Harris dies from poisoning.
Mhm.
Did Dr. Harris source the poison his self and drink it purposefully?
I think his hand did it, but I don't think there was purpose behind it.
It is kind of a little romantic twist because that's essentially what happened to Uncle Pearlie. So it's a
Hmm.
little poetic, yeah.
Yes.
I thought my favorite part of this entire novel was how symmetrical and circuitous the entire thing was, with um, us starting with a murder from for Uncle Pearlie drinking that poison, and then ending with that with Dr. Harris. And the entire time in the beginning, everybody is telling Vivian and B not to investigate this. Don't ask any questions you don't want the answers to. And then it ends with B telling Vivian the same thing. It was all very, very cute and circular, and I really appreciated that. That was really nice writing. It's very straightforward, but I thought it's heartwarming. Oddly,
Genuinely curious. So at the very end, Vivian gets the dress back. You you can't just walk into your boss's shop and be like, "I found the dress," and not be at fault for its disappearance,
I agree with you, and I'm going to be supremely disappointed if that's not how. Well, maybe it's not how the third book starts, but there has to be some type of memory or flashback or something. This needs to be explained.
right?
Yeah. Also, I'm curious if the dress is in perfect condition, or if something bad happens to the dress, or
Right? Is it missing some jewels? Like what's going on?
do you think Miss Ethel's reopens, or do you think she's going to be run out of business? What do you think happens there?
I think a week out of business is pretty detrimental this time period in New York.
Yeah, but you know, I think it was through book one, you get the impression that Miss Ethel is running a really profitable gig.
Hmm.
But in this book, it almost makes it seem like she's running on cash flow week to week.
Hmm.
And it seems if she's catering to the rich, and the rich are paying such exorbitant prices for their clothing, and she's not paying her workers anything, how is she not running enough of a profit margin to be a little bit more financially secure?
Those expensive materials, man.
So, yeah, it's detrimental. But do you think that's all she wrote? Or do you think we go back to Miss Ethel's in the next book?
I think we go back to Miss Ethel's. I just don't know what state we're gonna find it in.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think we go back to Miss Ethel's. I don't think we stay at Miss Ethel's for book 4, though. I think the sisters get to break free somehow. Abraham, I so you were talking about, yeah, he did it, right? And I almost wanted to text you at one point when I was reading. I was like, uh I think in the last when we read part 1 of this book, you and I were both a little sour on this dude.
Hmm.
Not necessarily because of his involvement in the bad stuff, but because of his, like, overprotective, coddling nature with B. Do is he redeemed at the end of all of this? Are we still sour on him? How do we feel about Abraham?
Well, he obviously lied about how he got the necklace, and I get why. And then B lies at the end. So I have a feeling he's going to be sticking around because I think they all learned an important lesson of sometimes good people do bad things.
Do you think the lies are okay? Or
I
are
think
you
that's hard to
a
decide.
don't lie type person?
These aren't white lies, so I think that's what makes it hard, right? Like the occasional white lie, whatever. I think these would do it for me. I wouldn't. I ain't got time for this. But also, I just like will tell people stuff unfiltered truth, and that's also not helpful.
Yeah, I don't know. Your sister and I, we are both very idealistic people. And I think we are both proponents of like, if you don't do bad shit, you don't have anything to lie about.
Mhm.
And like otherwise just don't lie. Like I guess that's the so I don't know. I suppose in my youth I lied a lot. So I can't really judge anybody. um what do you think of Abraham and B potentially getting married?
I'm less excited about that than I am about Danny and Flo.
Okay, let's talk about Danny and Flo. Yes, I like Danny and Flo.
I have so many questions now because there's been implications about mom being good friends or next door neighbors with Mr. Sun. And so one would imply that the girls then at some point in their lives grew up with some Chinese influence in their young childhoods. So that feels like very full circle that like maybe her first boo she's interested in is Chinese.
Actually, that is very, very beautiful because when they get that photograph, I actually kind of liked how the sisters were like, "Oh my God, you look so much like mom." No, you look so much like mom. But if their mom was all interested in the Chinese part of the city and Florence is going that direction, does Florence win
Yeah.
the being like mom?
Does she get to get reconnected with her roots that way?
But Mrs. Chen doesn't necessarily like that Danny likes Florence.
She seems to come around to the idea of it, though, a chapter or two later. Like, at first, she's staunchly opposed, but then she keeps saying, "But you are good girls. You are good girls."
I find it as objectively, I understand history. I get that there we had these huge divisions, but given how we live in our modern day world, and given that I am so accepting of people because people are just people, I read some of these things and I'm just like, come on, Mrs. Chen, who gives a shit that she's
Mhm.
white and he's not? Um, but like I guess it would be hard to integrate their worlds, and I like the idea of it though, because I think Danny did talk a lot about how most of the Chinese, they couldn't bring Chinese women over back then because of immigration laws. So they all pretty much ended up being with with Irish ladies
Mhm.
anyway, because they were all outcasts.
Mhm.
So I kind of have hope that Mrs. Chen is going to go, and Danny gets to be with Florence. Um, but Vivian isn't too happy about that idea just because then she'd be like alone.
Yeah. And what would Vivian do then?
What do you think she would do?
I don't know, because it's hard to afford rent as a single person in this time frame. I think it's hard to afford rent any time frame as a single person,
E-
but
Even as a couple right now.
right? So part of me is like, well, she would just still live with Danny and Flo. And then I'm like, or would she move in with Miss Huxley? Leo? Me?
That is so tricky because like Honor Huxley is very much against like you can't be here. I can't have this type of weakness for potential blackmail,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. Which I know Vivian takes as very selfish on Honor's part, but like, is it selfish or is it actually very practical and it's actually keeping Vivian safe? And then over at Leo's place, they would have to find a completely new apartment because Leo's landlady
Mhm.
is no women are allowed in your apartment.
Yep.
So, but then with Alba gonna have a baby living at the Henrys, and they still have children, and well, that seems pretty full up.
Mhm.
Where would Vivian stay there? That's
No
crazy.
idea.
Maybe she just stays at the Chens. But okay, going with that train of thought, Vivian proactively asks Leo on a date.
Mhm.
What do you think happens with that in the next book?
I think this is maybe where we're starting to lean towards Vivian making a decision. I think maybe she's picking Leo over Huxley.
I think whatever murder is about to happen in the third book gets in the way of this relationship. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And then I think the murder is going to bring her closer to Honor. And that's going to complicate things again.
Do you think it's gonna be a current day murder, or do you think they're gonna find, like, an unsolved case and solve it?
I don't know. Because I think the titles of these books are pretty spot on. So you have like Last Call at the Nightingale. There was a murder around Last Call out in the alley at the Nightingale. Last Drop of Hemlock is like the calling card was the hemlock, but like because we got letters in book two, this one's called Last Note of Warning. Note makes me think of another letter concept, but we can't be doing that again unless we get somebody. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, a note could be like a written note or like a bank note.
Ooh, is this like a money laundering thing?
Could be.
That could be interesting.
But I'm also wondering, Mr. Sun said that May had disappeared. And then we went to the unclaimed the island of unclaimed bodies, and May wasn't there. So is May actually still alive, and do we find her? Or is the next murder about her disappearance and the murder and the unsolved murder?
I like that idea. The search for their mother continues. Their mother got into something, and the people responsible, as it were, don't want the Kelly sisters to find their mother and send them blackmail or threats or something. I kind of
Right?
like that idea. And yes, I'm definitely of the opinion that their mother is not dead. Um, Although that's really interesting because I'm pretty sure that Mrs. Thomas, their crotchety neighbor, how would Mrs. Thomas know? Like she kept the sisters together and helped them through all of that. Why would Mrs. Thomas? I don't know. But yeah, I don't think their mother is dead. And maybe she went to the Chinese almost for like sanctuary to into hiding just like Vivian and Florence did. I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I like your idea a lot. Book three is the search for their mother, and they get into hot water during that search. I like that a lot. No notes. I'm in. So I suppose the only other thing that we could even potentially do is what do you think of book one compared to book two compared to book one?
I think I might have liked the first book a little bit more.
Agreed. I I really like book two and how it resolves, but it felt like a super long walk to get there. It felt like a little bit of a chore for those first 100 pages.
I will say it's very rare that I like a second book better than a first book of a series. As
Hmm.
long as I don't dislike the second book, odds are good I'm going to finish the series. But most of the time, I like book one better than book two. I think there's very few that I can call that I would say I like book two better.
I think I would hazard a guess that that's probably what most people think
Hmm.
because I'm right there with you. Um, yeah, but I am looking forward to book three. Um, did you want to start that right away? Like
Might
meet
as
again
well.
in a week?
I've got a free weekend to actually read
When you're going on vacation, you're going on a cruise
in May
in May. Okay, so we have all next
that
month.
time.
Okay.
We should be able to finish the series before I leave.
Right on. Excellent. And then when you get back from your cruise, we'll start the Black Witch Chronicles.
Sure.
Um, that episode went live today,
Yeah.
this morning. And obviously I was like editing it and posting it and finding shorts for it and stuff. So I essentially rewatched the episode before I posted it. And like I am jazzed for the Black Witch Chronicles. I'm still jazzed.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that's going to be freaking awesome. Um, but I suppose for now we should put a bookmark in it.
Sounds good. We'll be back next week with part one of book three, The Last Note of Warning.
Cover game is so strong for these.
So strong.
Don't forget to leave us a comment, send us an email, all the good things. We would love to know what you thought of this book if you've read it. Our contact information, it's all in the description down below.
Thanks for listening. Until next time.
See ya.